I dreamed a dream in time gone by, when I was still a productive reader. Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Juan. I am just one reader. I am here with a video on nothing. That's really the topic for today. Nothingness. Well, no, that's not entirely true. I want to give you guys like a reading update. I don't know if this video really is for you or if it really is for me to sort of deal with my guilt. I think it's what I'm feeling, maybe a little unconsciously, but I guess I'm feeling guilt for not having read. Although that's not entirely true. I have been reading every day, and I have been reading a lot, and I am reading 3 books at the same time. But I just haven't completed anything. I haven't finished anything that I've been reading for, it's what, 17th of May today. It's May 17, and I haven't finished a single book in May. So I guess I wanted to talk to you, or to myself through you, to kind of explain myself, or at least talk about the reasons why I haven't been reading at the same pace. So firstly, I want to tell you what I have been reading, which now that I realize it's a lot. I mean, I've put a lot on my plate, and that's really my responsibility. So I want to talk about that. Firstly, I'm reading A Prayer for Owen, Meany by John Irving. This is a novel. It's literary fiction. It is a novel that I am enjoying a lot. It's not a book that I am loving, but I have a very weird experience reading this book. I have a weird connection and a weird sense of enjoyment. It's a pleasant book. It's a quirky book. I am still on page... Well, I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but yeah, I'm reading this, which is a big novel. I am also reading, every now and then, a short story from the collection Delicate Edible Birds by Owen. And I am also reading On Sondheim, which is a nonfiction work on Stephen Sondheim. This is by Ethan Morden. So I've been reading those 3 things at the same time. I think it's really great to read those 3 things at the same time because they are very different to one another. They are different genres, they are different formats, they are different experiences altogether. And I do feel that I am having a really great time reading-wise in May. Well, I've had a pretty great reading year. I don't know. I think it might be one of my best reading years in recent history for me. So I'm really excited because I think a lot of my satisfaction has come from making TBRs beforehand and really putting a lot of thought into what I will be reading during the month. So for example, I planned in May to read these 3 books at the same time, and they kind of complement one another. So I can mix those genres, I can mix those voices and those different literary techniques, and I feel like integrating everything really gives me a much better, much more satisfying experience. But the thing that happens when you do that is that it takes you longer to finish anything. At least that's what my experience has been like. So I haven't finished any of the books that I'm reading. That has also been because of my my psychoanalytical training. I am training to become a psychoanalyst. Well, I am a psychoanalyst, but my technical position would be psychoanalyst in training. So I am a psychoanalyst, but I am still in the process of training as one. So that requires a lot of work, of practical clinical work with patients at the office. It involves a lot of therapeutic work myself. I go to therapy, well, not to therapy. I go to psychoanalysis 4 times a week. So that is a very time consuming. It's amazing, and it's the best thing that anyone could do with their life, I think. but it is very time consuming. And on top of that, I also have classes. I have a lot of seminars, of theoretical seminars, and also I do some supervisions and things on the side. It's a lot. It's a full-time job. And on top of that, I have to read a lot for my theoretical seminars. So all my reading energy has been put into reading these two books lately. This is The Psychotic and Psychotic States. Really great psychoanalytical texts on psychosis, such as paranoia, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, mania, major depression, etc., melancholia. But yeah, that's been very, very time consuming, and it has kind of drained me from energy, and it has affected my reading, obviously. So I want to talk about the books that I am reading. Firstly, I guess the book that I am the least concerned about not having finished is on Sondheim, because this is nonfiction. And the way that this book is structured is, first there is a very long introduction about Stephen Sondheim, about his life, kind of biographical review of Stephen Sondheim. And then the author starts talking about each and every one of the musicals that he has written. So every chapter is dedicated to a show. The great thing is that you get a lot of really amazing thoughts and insights about each show, and it is a great nonfiction book in that way, that it really gives you a lot of inside access into its show and its production and its history. However, I've realized that Stephen Sondheim has written a lot of shows, a lot of great musicals, and there's a bunch of them, a lot of them that I haven't seen, I haven't watched, and I haven't listened to the music and the scores. So I am kind of torn. Should I first watch the show, because the shows are available on YouTube? You can easily find them, the full shows, and watch them, and they're great productions. So should I watch all of them and then read them? Or how should I approach this? Should I read the chapters as an introduction first and then experience the show? So I'm kind of torn between that. And that's also part of why I am very slowly reading this. It doesn't really matter, because this is more like a reading project for me. I know that eventually one day I will watch all the shows and I will be able to complete this book, but I will take my time with that one. Now, the short story collection has been delightful. It is incredibly well written, and every single time that I have time and sit down and read a story, I am completely blown away, and I have a great satisfying experience. I just need to read like 2 or 3 stories and I will finish this. But yeah, so far, great collection. But now, I think the main reason why I haven't completed anything so far in May is the novel, A Prayer for Owen Meany. I, of course, will make a separate review or talk more about this book once I've finished it, once I'm done with it. But the thing with this book is I am enjoying it. I am really liking it. But sometimes I get the same feeling or the same thing that I have when I'm reading a Stephen King novel. I feel like it should be edited. I feel like the author goes on and on and on, and there's a lot of detail. There's some detail that I just don't know. Why is it here? Why am I reading this? And so, as much as I'm enjoying it, I do have some issues with it, and I do have some problems with it that I want to talk about once I'm done with it. But yeah, this is a book that I've been reading pretty consistently, and I'm still on page 440 of 650. So I'm still gonna be reading this until the end of May, probably, because it's not a very fast-paced book. It's actually quite a character-driven story, and it's not very fast to read, but it is good, and I am really liking it. So I am kind of ambivalent about it, but I've been slowly making my way through it. Now, I guess another reason why I wanted to make this video is to talk about, to get me excited and get me pumped for upcoming reads. So I have two novels that I want to read. I want to start reading this weekend if possible. And I've chosen these two from my May TBR because I think these can get me out of this kind of slow. It's not a reading slump. It's not a reading slump because I am really excited about reading, and I'm really happy with what I've been reading, but I've been kind of reading at a very slow pace lately. So I want to start a novel that is going to be faster, that is going to be just more fun and delightful, and that's going to get me psyched, you know? So I have The Butcher Soak by Janet Ellis, and I have The Air Affair by Jasper Ford. And I will probably go for this one just because I think this will be kind of witty and clever and smart and really, really funny. So I think this is what I want. So, yeah. I really hope that I can get through something in May. And, this is an issue of feeling guilty and feeling bad for not having finished a single book. But really, why should I feel guilty? Because I am having a great time, and I am not... This is not a job. Reading is not a job. It's not a responsibility. It's a complete, utter joy. And I am really happy about the books that I've been reading because I'm enjoying everything so immensely. I mean, on Sondheim is great. I mean, the other day, on YouTube, I saw the musical Sunday in the Park with George. Amazing. Like, it's one of those, like, pieces of art. It's a masterpiece. Like, I could not believe that something so good was out there and I hadn't seen it before. So I saw the musical. I was blown away. I was floored. And then I read the chapter from the book that talks about Sunday in the Park with George. Wow. I mean, what an amazing piece of nonfiction. I mean, to have that experience of experiencing first the piece of art and then reading about the art. Oh, it's just, oh, wow. Then the short story collection, Delicate Edible Birds by Lauren Groff. Amazing. It's pure, utter brilliance and such a craft that she has with language. And then the novel, even though it is problematic, Owen Meany, it's enjoyable and it's really immersive. So I really can't complain. I can only complain that I am not producing, that I don't feel like I am, finishing stuff. But hey, that's why I go to analysis 4 times a week.